Howdy friends, just jamming out here in the early morning. One sec. Don't want to wake nobody up. Thought I'd give you a little bit of basics on the butterfly knife. I'm no expert. There's lots of people who can do all sorts of flips around their hands and throw it in the air and such. That ain't me, but I can teach you the very basics for getting started. So, first things first, get yourself a nice Balisong. This is a Balisong, I don't remember what it's called, like black cast or some shit like that. Who really knows? So basic information, all you really need is that typically you don't want to be holding this handle with the latch on it. This being said, well, the reason this is because whenever it closes, you'll be in the path of the blade. Dink. See that? You don't want your hands there. So with that started, and there are some exceptions to that, I want to show you some different ways you can open it, starting from as basic as it could possibly get to I mean, these are all the safest basic tricks you can learn, so I'll show you. Also, I don't recommend you do this sitting down, you know, because your legs are underneath you and such, so be ready for that. First thing I want to warn you of is when you first get a butterfly knife, it might be a bit sticky when it's not used to moving around yet. That happened with this very knife, actually. I got it one Easter, and the very first opening I did, the timing of it closing was a little bit off, so basically I grabbed the blade, on accident, and the handle came down, clapped me. Had a nice bleeder because it was a really sharp knife too, so I also recommend you actually dull your knife down, you know, because this is a tricking thing, not really a practical use type weapon. Until you get better, of course, that's always your choice, but a lot of people like to duct tape their knife as well for safety. So just for getting started, I'm going to call this the lazy open. This is my own custom thing. I've never heard of this anywhere, but it's nothing serious. Basically, you just want to be holding the safe handle. This is called the bite handle, if you didn't know, for good reason. So basically, you just want to let it go with gravity. A lot of the butterfly knife finesse is just switching grips quickly and rotating. So for this lazy opening, the most basic possible, you just let it go, grab underneath it, a slight turn, flick it open. Same thing to close, gravity, around. Gravity, let me switch angles here, gravity, around. Simple as it gets, really. Alright, next is what I believe is called the basic open. So this time, you're going to flick it and do a slight rotation of your hand to get it to open over your fingernail knuckles. Once again. Once you have it here, you just throw it back on your hand here, and then throw it down for the catch. Once again, to close, same exact thing. Yes, and that is how I cut my hand the first time I did it, as I was talking about. Because I grabbed it too early. Oh, on the close. Yes, and I ended up grabbing the blade. So, take your time learning. Alright. Now that's the one I prefer. The one that I always thought was the basic open, but it's actually not. I don't know what it's called, but you flick it out. Think of it as like a counterclockwise version of the same thing. And this time you come inside, flick it down, so it closes over your hand, and back up, out, around, back, instead of, it just depends what side the blade lands on. Those are probably the fastest ways to open it as well. Alright, now for the more fun ones, just practice those a bunch, get them nice and comfy, then I'll show you these ones, which are also very easy and safe, but a little bit cooler. I think this is called the windmill, could be wrong. You want to flick it out, straight out, and put your index finger in the way here. Out, close it back over yourself, like such. Out, back, and what you're going to do is kind of like switch to have this grip, and let the rest whip around, so you can catch it like this. Well, that wasn't very clean. Sometimes trying to slow things down makes it a lot harder. I'm pretty sure this works for the close as well. It sure does. It's the first basic one that I think is pretty cool. I believe we're almost done here. We've got a couple left. This one I believe is called the full twirl. Could be totally wrong about that. Just flick it out. This time put your index there, or your middle finger. Flip it back around and turn your hand over. And then you basically undo that and then do the basic open. So think of it as like adding an aesthetic to the third trick I taught you. This one. Out, around the side. So this time it's out, middle finger. I'll do that once quickly. Most of these also work for the close. Very flashy. Also, something I like to do is just when I'm fucking around, like, you can throw around half turns and freestyle it. Just make sure you don't switch handles. So, I'm pretty sure I'm actually down to the last one that I think is really easy and safe. I've learned a couple tricks as well, like the Zen rollover and the Y2K and a few other ones. But now I'm going to get into what is actually my favorite opening of all of them. It's a little flashy, but also unique in its own way. So this time, you're going to actually start holding the bite handle. Sounds scary, but I promise it'll be over quick. Holding the bite handle. Flick it over yourself. Switch handles. Once, oh, careful closing. Right. Flick it out. Switch here. Throw it back down. There you go. That's called down and up. This does not work for closing. Does not work for closing, so don't do it. Bite handle. Over top, down, back. Let me give you some new angle on that. Bite handle, down and up. 1 mil close. So there you have it, some basics, and you'll probably be able to pull those off without getting cut, while being able to get the feel of Balisong. It's not always worth pursuing, but if you at least want to know something, there's a couple nice basic tricks for you. There you have it, folks. Have a good day and be safe.